Hi, Mr. Recap here. Today I am going to recap mystery-packed anime series called Promised Neverland. Spoilers alert, subscribe and enjoy. Emma, Norman, and Ray are three exceptionally bright orphans who live a content and orderly life at Gracefield House, alongside 35 other children. Their day begins with breakfast, lovingly prepared by Mom Isabella, who cares for them with kindness and attention. After breakfast, the children take part in a series of intellectual tests, with Emma, Norman, and Ray each achieving perfect scores. Later, they play tag on the sprawling green fields and in the dense forest that surrounds Gracefield. During the game, Norman mysteriously vanishes into the woods, and no one can locate him until Emma accidentally wanders to the edge of the forest. There, she finds him staring at the low fence marking the boundary. The children begin to imagine what the outside world might be like, eagerly dreaming of the day they'll be adopted and leave Gracefield behind. One of the younger children, Connie, is set to be adopted that very day. After a day filled with play and laughter, Connie tearfully says goodbye to her Gracefield family and is led away by Isabella. Later, while cleaning up, Emma finds Connie's cherished stuffed bunny, Little Bunny. Realizing how important it is to Connie, she decides to return it with Norman's help. The two make their way to the gate, where a truck is waiting in the stone corridor. Emma plans to leave the bunny in the truck, assuming Connie will find it later. However, when she approaches the truck, she is met with a horrifying sight: Connie's lifeless body. Hearing voices from another room, Emma and Norman quickly hide under the truck. In terror, they see monstrous figures discussing how the children are being raised as high-quality meat for wealthy and powerful demons. Struggling to stifle their screams, Emma and Norman are left horrified by the grim reality of their existence. Suddenly, one of the monsters calls Isabella, instructing her to ensure the delivery of high-quality goods proceeds without any issues. In an instant, Emma and Norman's entire world is shattered as they uncover the horrifying truth of their existence. They realize that Gracefield House is not a loving orphanage, but a farm where humans are raised as food for demons. Overwhelmed, they flee from the corridor and run back to the house. That night, Emma and Norman discuss their next steps, with Norman proposing they plan an escape. Emma hesitates, unwilling to leave the other children behind to face their grim fate. Meanwhile, Isabella discovers the stuffed bunny Emma had left by the truck during their escape. When Isabella confronts them, Emma struggles to hide her terror, but Norman insists they must act normal and keep smiling. Though Isabella suspects someone was at the gate, she doesn't know who it was. During playtime, Emma and Norman agree that escaping through the forest seems like the safest option. However, when they cross the short fence, they are met with an enormous, seamless concrete wall, dashing their hopes. The situation grows more complicated when a younger child goes missing. Isabella simply glances at her watch and immediately knows where to find the child, revealing that the children have tracking devices implanted in their bodies. Back at the house, Emma is privately mourning Connie when Isabella suddenly appears, questioning why Emma has seemed less cheerful lately. Ray intervenes by ringing the dinner bell, saving them from further scrutiny. As Emma and Norman leave, Isabella directly asks if they were at the gate the previous night. They respond cheerfully, "Of course not, that's against the rules," and walk away, though Isabella's suspicion lingers. Once alone, Emma and Norman can no longer contain their terror. They resolve to escape but know they need a solid plan. Their strategy involves hiding table linen in a tree hollow near the wall, which they'll later use to make rope for their escape. With only 2 months before the next child is taken, time is running out. However, someone follows them to the wall. It's Ray, who demands to know what's going on. Emma and Norman reveal the horrifying truth, and to their surprise, Ray believes them, knowing Norman would never lie about something so serious. While Ray agrees to help with the escape, he points out the immense challenge of Emma's insistence on saving all 37 children. Later, Isabella introduces a new baby, Carol, and an adult helper, Sister Crone, who is already scheming to take Isabella's place. As the trio continues their preparations, they face another obstacle: identifying where the tracking devices are implanted. Emma inspects Carol and finds a red bump behind her ear, confirming the presence of the trackers. They agree it's too risky to remove the devices, as it could trigger an alarm, so they focus on getting everyone out first. To disguise their plans, they decide to frame the escape as a harmless game of tag. Emma suggests improving the children's physical fitness, while Norman and Ray teach them survival skills. Unfortunately, Sister Crone grows suspicious of their activities. She plans to ship the children out earlier than the official date, hoping to accuse Isabella of breaking protocol and seize power for herself. This adds another layer of danger to the trio's already daunting escape plan. Later, Norman and Ray piece together clues that suggest there's a traitor among the children. Meanwhile, Isabella offers Crone a deal. If she cooperates, she'll be promoted to a mom of her own. However, Crone privately seethes, determined to overthrow Isabella, rather than wait for her promotion. As the trio continues their escape preparations, they disguise their training as a game of tag, this time led by the older children to make it seem more natural. Emma, Norman, and Ray suspect that either Gilda or Dawn might be the traitor. That evening, they confide in Dawn and Gilda, revealing the truth about their situation, though Norman chooses not to tell them about Connie's death or the horrifying reality of the children being eaten. Instead, he claims the kids who left were victims of human trafficking, believing the full truth might be too overwhelming. Despite this omission, Gilda and Dawn agree that an escape attempt is their only option. Ray is uneasy about Norman's decision to withhold the full truth, but Norman insists that the escape must take priority. To test their suspicions, Norman sets traps for Gilda and Dawn by giving them different locations for the escape rope, ensuring they won't uncover the full plan if they are indeed the traitors. That night, Emma pretends to sleep and watches as Gilda quietly leaves the bedroom. Unseen by Emma, someone slips a piece of paper under Isabella's door, revealing the location of the rope hidden under Norman's bed. After delivering the note, Gilda heads to Crone's room, and Emma listens in from behind the door. The conversation grows tense, with evidence suggesting Gilda might be Crone's informant. But in the end, Gilda refuses to reveal any information, giving Emma hope that she can be trusted. When Norman and Ray check the two hiding spots for the rope, Norman finds nothing under his bed, leading Ray to conclude that Dawn must be the traitor. However, Norman now suspects Ray, as he was the only one who knew about the rope's location. Ray doesn't deny it, but explains that he acted out of necessity. Norman agrees to forgive Ray on the condition that he becomes his spy as well. Ray agrees, but insists Norman trick Emma into believing they'll only take Gilda and Dawn, leaving the younger children behind. Ray argues that the little ones would be a burden during and after the escape, and he didn't spend years as Isabella's informant just for everyone to die in a futile attempt to save them all. Later, Ray meets with Isabella, reporting that the others are still using tag as practice, but redirecting her attention to Sister Crone as the primary threat. Eventually, Ray confesses to Emma that he's been Isabella's informant. Meanwhile, Gilda and Dawn feel excluded from the private conversations between Emma, Norman, and Ray. Gilda and Emma begin observing Isabella more closely, and Emma discovers a secret room where Isabella conducts unknown activities. Dawn, unaware that Connie is dead, becomes obsessed with learning the truth and saving her. He and Gilda enter Isabella's room, where Gilda slides a bookshelf aside to reveal a locked door. Dawn's determination leads him to increasingly risky actions, including the idea of stealing Isabella's key to uncover the truth. His obsession creates tense situations for himself and Gilda, as he refuses to back down despite the dangers. Meanwhile, Norman, Gilda, and Ray agree that to successfully escape and survive, they need to gather as much information as possible about the outside world and how they'll live there. In the library, they discover books with book blades bearing the name William Minerva and messages in Morse code. If they can decode the order of these words, they might uncover valuable information that Minerva is secretly trying to relay to them. This discovery gives the children hope that there could be other humans resisting the demon hegemony. Meanwhile, Dawn and Gilda venture deeper into Isabella's secret chambers, uncovering a collection of stuffed animals and toys. These findings not only confirm Norman's claims about the adult's sinister intentions, but also suggest something even more horrifying is at play. Norman and Ray reprimand Dawn and Gilda for their recklessness, but the two realize they haven't been told the full truth. Norman decides to reveal everything to them, and as expected, the truth is overwhelming. Despite the shock, Dawn and Gilda agree to help, stealing materials that Ray mentions in his report to Isabella, which details Norman's supposed plot to kill her. Norman explains to Emma that he's having Ray feed Isabella false information to mislead and distract her during their escape. During his report to Isabella, Ray learns that he will be the one shipped out during the next monthly shipment in January. His time is running out. Only a week remains until the planned escape date. However, the children grow careless in their open conspiring, and Sister Crone suddenly emerges from behind a tree, announcing that she knows everything about their plans. Surprisingly, she isn't angry or threatening. Instead, she proposes an alliance, suggesting they work together against Isabella. That night, Emma and Norman visit Crone, asking her a series of questions. While she provides some answers, they realize she's withholding more information than she reveals. Meanwhile, Isabella rewards Ray for his assistance by giving him an instant camera. Later, Isabella informs Crone that she has been appointed as the new mom for Plan 4 and must leave immediately. Crone presents her evidence about the children's escape plan to Grandma, but it's dismissed outright as the children are still under control. Grandma then coldly orders the demons to eliminate Crone. Meanwhile, Isabella, revealing her awareness of Ray's treachery, abruptly ends their arrangement. She locks him in a room and uses her tracking device to locate Norman and Emma. When Dawn and Gilda notice Isabella leaving the house without Ray, Dawn rushes inside, breaks down the door, and frees Ray. The three of them hurry to Norman and Emma's location as quickly as possible. Mama confronts Norman and Emma, dropping the facade she's maintained for over a decade and rejecting their attempts to fake normalcy. She makes what appears to be a heartfelt plea, urging them to stop resisting and accept their fates. However, when Emma and Norman defiantly reject her ultimatum, Isabella snaps Emma's knee with a chilling calmness, then tenderly applies a splint, and carries her back to the house, showcasing her unsettling mix of cruelty and care. Later, Isabella informs a horrified Norman that his shipment date has been set, leaving him with little time. Norman proposes that the others proceed with the escape plan without him once Emma has healed, but Emma and Ray refuse to abandon him. Instead, they instruct Norman to use the device Ray has just completed to deactivate his tracker and hide until Emma recovers. Norman reluctantly agrees to the plan. The next morning, Norman puts his escape plan into action. After securing the rope, he pulls it taut and runs up the wall, managing to grab the top ledge and hoist himself over. On the other side, he's greeted by an endless expanse of forest. However, when Isabella finally realizes Norman is missing, she checks his tracking device. To Emma and Ray's shock, she doesn't panic. Instead, she smiles and calmly closes the device. Moments later, Norman emerges from the forest, his escape thwarted. Isabella's eerie confidence and the sight of Norman returning leave Emma and Ray horrified. While atop the wall, Norman discovers the grim truth. A vast, deep cliff separates the wall from the forest, an insurmountable distance for the children. However, he offers a glimmer of hope, revealing that the complex of farms forms a hexagon, with one side being the HQ where a bridge crosses the cliff. Despite this discovery, Norman knows he won't be joining them. His fate is sealed, and his mind will soon be altered. The scene of Norman's farewell is heart-wrenching. All the children are either in tears or struggling to hold them back, but no one is more devastated than Emma. She tries to give him the tracking device breaker, but Norman refuses, handing it back to her and urging her not to give up. His words are filled with resolve and hope, even as he faces his own uncertain future. Norman and Isabella walk to the gate together, their steps heavy with unspoken tension. At the gate, Isabella directs him to a room to wait, and that's the last we see of him. Emma and Ray are utterly devastated by Norman's loss. The two of them struggle to find the strength to carry on, even with support from Don and Gilda. Ray, consumed by despair, admits he's tired and no longer cares, telling the others they can do as they please. Both the younger children and Isabella take notice of Emma's persistent depression, her grief weighing heavily on her. As time passes, Ray's shipment date arrives. Emma wakes up and finds him in the chapel, where they both reveal they've been acting around Isabella, pretending to have given up to deceive her. Ray shares his plan with Emma. Burning down the house is their best chance for escape. He then shows her the oil cans he's been secretly hiding for years and proceeds to pour oil all over himself, terrifying Emma. Ray explains that he's been waiting for this moment to end his life, believing his sacrifice would serve as a distraction, allowing Isabella to focus on rescuing him while Emma and the other children make their escape. As the clock strikes midnight, the now 12-year-old Ray sets the fire ablaze. Emma rushes toward him in a panic, but soon after, a loud scream echoes through the house. Isabella, alerted by the commotion, finds Emma lying on the ground, devastated and calling out Ray's name. Isabella checks her radar and confirms that Ray is indeed inside the burning fire. Desperate to salvage Ray's brain, she attempts to extinguish the flames. When Isabella orders Emma to escape, she turns around to find Emma already gone. Using her radar again, Isabella searches for Emma, but only picks up the signal from Emma's severed ear in the bathroom, a clever decoy. Meanwhile, Emma joins the other orphans in the forest, where Don explains to Ray how Gilda and Emma have been secretly preparing the older children for the escape. Ray recalls how Emma stopped him from burning himself, slapping him back to reality. In the cafeteria, Toma and Lanny enter with wrapped meat, Anna's cut hair, and Ray's clothes as decoys to mislead Isabella. Emma reveals to Ray that Norman had foreseen Ray's plan to sacrifice himself and had prepared a counterplan for her. This meant they were already ready to escape. As the orphans evacuate the house, Isabella retrieves her communication device and stands outside, watching the house burn to the ground. She begins to laugh, declaring with chilling confidence that she will catch them all. However, before she can act, Phil tugs at her dress, startling her. The children, meanwhile, begin their ascent up the wall, determined to escape. Emma reveals a change in her plan to Ray. Instead of rescuing everyone that night, she's leaving the younger children behind, including Phil, with the promise to return for them and everyone else in the other farms before their shipping dates arrive. Phil, though only 4 years old, now understands the grim truth about Norman, Connie, and the others who were harvested. Emma entrusts him with the responsibility of being ready for her return, leaving him behind as a symbol of hope and resilience. There's another twist in the plan, one Ray was unaware of, and by extension, so was Isabella. Instead of using the obvious bridge to cross the cliff, Don heaves a stone across a narrower section, successfully wrapping the rope around a tree on the other side. He zip lines across and secures the rope, allowing the others to follow. The children then use water rockets to launch additional ropes across, ensuring their escape route is both unexpected and effective. Emma's decision to leave the younger ones behind, while heartbreaking, underscores her commitment to saving everyone in the long term. When she finally sounds the alarm, the demons rush to the bridge, only to realize the children aren't there. By the time Isabella figures out their true escape route, Emma is the last one left to cross. With a final defiant look at her former mama, Emma bids her goodbye and ziplines across the cliff, leaving Isabella behind. In her moment of defeat, a surprising revelation emerges. Ray is Isabella's son. Despite her loss, Isabella seems to take a strange pride in the fact that her beloved children outsmarted her. As they disappear beyond the wall and cliff, She quietly wishes them good fortune. Now free from Grace Field, Emma, Ray, and the other children begin their journey into the unknown, determined to find a safe place to live and fulfill their promise to return for the others.